welcome to the webinar on COVID's impact on enterprise development service and the way forward. COVID-19 has brought an unprecedented challenges in the world. The total number of cases has crossed 10 million and number of deaths has already crossed 500,000. The COVID case in Nepal is also growing rapidly. We crossed 13,000 cases and 29 people have died from this disease so far. Sri Lanka, on the other hand, looks like they are in relatively better position. There are around 2,000 cases of COVID and 11 people have died so far. This pandemic and the lockdown enforced by the government to contain the spread of this COVID-19 has affected almost every sector of the economy, and microfinance is no exception. And this preliminary survey from CGAP shows that there is gathering clouds, but no storm yet in the microfinance. But we have to look closely on how things will unfold in the coming days. In this context, we are here to discuss in particular how enterprise development service EDS activities is affected from this crisis and how we can move forward. We have participation from 3 Sakchyam partners who are currently implementing enterprise development services. And we also have few team members from Sakchyam, and most importantly, we have 2 prominent guests from Berendina who have accepted our invitation to join the webinar and share their experience. Now, let's move for the introduction of the participants. Before we move to individual participants, I would like to introduce 2 prominent guests from Berendina. We have Mr. Anura Attapattu, who is the current president of Lanka Microfinance Practitioners Association. He is the chairman of Berendina Development Service and Berendina Employment Center Limited, and also the managing director of Berendina Micro Investment Company, BMIC. He also served as the chief executive officer of Sarvodaya Rural Enterprise Development Service and the deputy managing director of the Sarvodaya Economic Enterprise Development Service, SEEDS. He had been a board member of SEEDS, BDS, BEC, BMIC, and LMFPA for many years. He has been the founding chairman of Development Facilitators Limited, a consulting, training, and research provider for microfinance, MSME, and other development experts in Sri Lanka and abroad. He's a consultant by profession and has undertaken many assignments nationally and internationally, and has represented Sri Lanka development sector in many local and international conference, seminars, and events. We are glad to have Anura in the event.
As we are coming out of this lockdown, we know we had this lockdown for the last almost 90 days in Nepal. I think more or less similar to be the case in Sri Lanka as well. And now the twin objective of saving lives and livelihood have become, I would say, urgent as well as really important. And a service like EDS is essential for a sustained livelihood and enterprise development. One of the examples I think all of us we may have been observing is that there has been a large return of migrant workers from overseas as well as internally within cities in countries like Nepal. And when this large number of migrant people go back to their rural villages, then they will need to start some kind of enterprise activities or other kind of income generating activities. And at that point of time, I think a service like enterprise development service will become essential so that their resources are channelized productively in a meaningful way. Since last few years, as Omkar said in his introductory remarks, our 3 MFI partners are testing a paid for demand-driven EDS model with Berendina's support. And our partners are making their own adjustment, own tweaking in this product in order to customize as per the local needs. And in this forum today, in this interaction, we'll hear from our partners on how their experience has been, because this is something very novel for Nepal as well. In a country like ours, where supply-driven EDS programs have been initiated in the past, whereby with scant consideration for whether those kind of activities will be beneficial to the target audience or not. We have seen lots of supply-driven EDS initiatives in the past, but this is different. This is a demand-driven, paid-for model, and it will really be good to hear from our partners on how their experience has been, as well as how they plan to take it forward in the backdrop of the disruption brought about by COVID-19. It will also be good to hear from our colleagues from Berendina on how this project could be improvised further, and also to hear their experience back home in Sri Lanka and how they have been performing, what has been the reaction from their partners, and if they are making any adjustment in light of this COVID-19 crisis.
Like in terms of our experience, like I believe almost everybody, we have been badly affected by this current situation. When I say badly affected, it means both outstanding, the loan which we were supposed to give, that's not going as per planning, and the interest and the installment which we were supposed to get, we're not getting that. Because of that, I believe in the 13 years, Nerude, and I believe it's with everybody, we've been like badly affected in terms of profit, and things are going really bad.
Almost 2.5 months, or 2.5 month, our office and all the activities has been completely shut down, and especially in service sector, industries, and the agriculture sector has been badly affected in our working area. All the training and the home visit and the other services has been stopped due to COVID impact. However, we have just resumed our regular services from last 1 month. Similarly, during the COVID situation, we focused on call support and supporting or counseling by phone services was continue. Now we have resumed our services, and all of our field staffs are in field to support our members.
Well, the COVID came as a big unexpected guest, and we had to really reshuffle in terms of thinking, in terms of operating, because of the distance of the branches and so on. But we found that almost 2/3 of our staff were caught in the branches, so we can't we can't send them home. They were staying in the branches. Some by default had to be especially in the Tarai area, had to be sent home because it was not possible for them to stay in the branches. And then 310 entrepreneurs were identified. We followed up on their data. There's a very intensive data, which I'm very proud of, and we still hadn't given me the time to really analyze it through. And my biggest concern is, I mean, there has been always the finding saying that the clients are not ready to pay for the coupon, and this has been my biggest battle. That how are they not willing to pay for the training? Like Nirmal says, that this is a demand driven. It is something that we are going to help with their trade and help with the entrepreneurship, and that is something fundamentally necessary if they are going to be entrepreneurs. And they were continuously saying that they are not willing to pay, and this has been it has consumed our biggest chunk of my time. But now the case studies, the videos, the data, and the loan disbursement, as I just shared you, like what was the loan disbursement pattern like. And it shows that, okay, plus minus, there has been 20% increase among those people who have taken training versus those who have not. Now, that means that forget about COVID, we have 22,000 clients. Only 3,272 have received the training. And of those, only you can see that only not even 50% had really taken the loans. So if we really focus on the people who have taken the training and focus on providing the EDS support, then we don't even need to increase so many branches. We can even merge number of branches and increase the loan disbursement, and not just that, but also to focus on the income of the clients, not just the income, but we were really focusing on, right now we're focusing on 10, 12 different products, but we will be expanding that. And just as I'm going through, we looked into we have a very intensive format which says like the client identification, where they come from and what training did they receive, when did they receive, when did they get the loan, what was the income like before, and what is the income like after. And so just this morning's analysis, like you said, that we still have to analyze a lot of the data. And we find that there's almost like, well, in general, 85 to 100% increase in the income of the clients.
Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to first to listen our three basically partner MFIs to tell us about firstly the success that they have achieved in enterprise development services before the COVID situation. And it was, I think, about 2 years experience that they were talking about. And we are very happy to see that all three MFIs have basically implemented the enterprise development services together with microfinance, and then have benefited. The clients are benefited and the organization is also benefited from that. But unfortunately, the COVID situation has brought the situation into a standstill situation, and also more, I would say, some damaging situation, and at the same time creating some hopes for future. During the lockdown period, in the first few weeks, first week or two, second week, we started to develop a business continuity plan, BCP, for the organization. It included all the elements, including enterprise development services. How we can revive, how we can get back to the normal situation under new normal, of course, and how long it will take and what implications are there. And looking at all these things, we have developed a business continuity plan. And this business continuity plan is not a blueprint. And we have now updated once more with the new developments and with the new situation. And it will be a living document which we upgrade or update from time to time. This is not a time for us to charge. And then there were some assistance from the government and EDOs, enterprise development officers, got involved in looking at what are the subsidies or facilities available from the government, and to link them with our clients. And we also have going through restructuring and improving EDS services. We have improved our business counseling and marketing of products. I think there is another slide. Yeah. Now with this lockdown, we have seen that there is a very significant opportunity created by online marketing. I think somebody said no in Nepal also, and even in Sri Lanka that has been opportunity. Before lockdown, we were already started an online marketing platform for our producers. It was called EKade, like electronic shop, and literal meaning is electronic shop. EKade. The website is ekade.com. And initially we thought it could be useful for mainly for handicraft producers. But we thought that during the COVID period that we have a potential for marketing agricultural products also. but non-perishable agricultural products like grams and chilies, spices, stuff like that. And now we are doing a feasibility, massive feasibility, and I hope that feasibility will be completed end of this month, and today is the last day, I think, deadline for that. And we find that it gives us a feasible way forward, and we are going to move into this also, which will be a long-term benefit, which is coming out from this COVID pandemic for the rural entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka.
It was very interesting discussion to hear from our MFI partners about their experience and also the challenges, how to institutionalize these practices once Sakchyam is gone. And Sumitra ma'am rightly laid out the difficulties and the kind of support it will require for an institution like hers to make it a long-term sustainable business. But again, if you look at the experience from our Sri Lankan colleagues, then there's a very clear demonstration case that these are the things which are doable if the organization is committed on that, and if the organization is not looking at this initiative as a standalone project, but as something which will ultimately benefit their entire microfinance business, which is the core business of any microfinance, which is lending. So if we are able to see that holistic picture, and if we have the kind of support which will be required to make a program like this successful, then I could see a clear possibility that this will be institutionalized, and we could see that more microfinance institutions in Nepal following the early packs. But again, there are other challenges, as rightly highlighted by some of the speakers, related to the free training and others, whether customers should be committed on this kind of things or not. But again, every business opportunity is by overcoming those challenges. I'm pretty confident that our MFI partners will also be in a position to overcome these difficulties and make this a long-term initiative from their side.